Hi guys, welcome to the April outlook for the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. When it comes to the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season, there's a lot of variability with it, and it doesn't really seem to be set in stone really with anything going on in it. There's just really not much certainty with what's going to happen, if there's going to be an El Nino, if there's going to be one when. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the sea surface temperatures for this season, and this area that I've colored in orange is what I believe are going to be slightly above average temperatures than what they usually are. And here's the above average temperatures. This is probably going to be like 3 to 4 degrees higher, and this is really going to be like the areas to watch out for development, where there usually might not be some, or just like increased development or intensification. Especially really watching around the Gulf Coast. There could be some last second intensification there. Looks to be a lot warmer there than usual in this season, so that could be something to really watch out for when it comes to intensifying storms. Here's the slightly below average and also the highly above average. You can see right off the Florida coast it's going to be really warm this season. And you can see right here is slightly below average, which is less conducive, which could really inhibit some of these storms coming from the MDR, which would be really good for the regions in the Caribbean, because it would really limit a lot of the per se like storms that would be stronger in these regions, because a lot of storms usually intensify in the Caribbean. So having below average temperatures there would really be helpful for a lot of those regions. And really below average is just this little area right there, but it's also a huge area. A lot of storms tend to pass through here, so that's a big spot to have be below average, and that'll really help out with the season. And as you can see in the Western Caribbean is going to be average temperatures for the most part. Let's get into the Enzo. This is the region of the Earth that depends on the Enzo, like what qualifies as the Enzo region. This is, as of today, for the first time today, it crossed over into the positive Enzo, which has been the trend for the past couple of months. We're likely going to see an El Nino form at some point during this season. It's really a question of when, or, I mean, it still isn't a guaranteed thing, but it's probably going to be pushed back later in the season. But if it comes earlier than we're expecting, it can really inhibit some of the intensification in early season storms that we didn't think it would. But it might, if it comes a little later, it might not affect the season at all. Here's the current projection. As you can see, it's kind of getting up into that Enzo, and there's a good chance that it becomes an El Nino by the end of the year. See here, there's a 30% chance for an El Nino, 60% for a neutral, and it's very unlikely that we'll see a La Nina. It's really not likely at all. I don't see that happening. More likely we'll see neutral till around maybe October, when I could see it switching over to an El Nino phase, inhibiting the late season development. Here's the big areas for landfall this year. Probably biggest concern is the Florida and Carolina coast, and then secondary is just like this Gulf area right here with Louisiana and whatnot. Those are the most likely landfall locations this year. Common tracks just kind of follow the same thing. You can see the Carolinas, see a lot of storms just meandering out to sea this year, and this little track right through here in the Caribbean. Final projections are 12 to 17 tropical storms or named storms. I see this being on the low end if El Nino develops earlier than expected, and on the high end if it's later. Hurricanes 5 to 8, really looking at around a moderate season this year, average season, and 2 to 4 major hurricanes. But as I mentioned before, with how the major hurricanes are lining up, and like the really warm waters off the coast, especially in the Gulf, could really lead to some last second intensification